Right, as we continue on the main topic as to why we did the lesson in the first place, which is Solomon is Yahushai, according to sound doctrine, according to the scriptures. But before we go into it, let's first remember the law in Deuteronomy chapter 24 and verses 16. And it says, "The father shall not be put to death for the son, neither shall the children, be put to death for the fathers. Every man shall be put to death for his own sin." Now we understand the ways in which happens when you die, and the Father requireth that which is past. So whatever you have done in your past life, the Father is what He judges you by. Alright? It's like, again, in a court system. Whatever you would have done and did 2 weeks ago, a month ago, and 6 months ago that you're caught of, you are going to receive judgment on behalf of what you did. That's how it works. This is a proper and total balance. So as keep this in mind, Deuteronomy 24 verse 16. Because now let's get into prophecy first of Solomon and what his blessings is and what would happen if he did transgress. So let's get 2 Samuel chapter 7 and verses 11. Let's start from 11. It says, let's see, from 10 it says, "Moreover, I will appoint a place for my people Israel, and will plant them that they may dwell in the place of their own, and move no more, neither shall the children of the wicked of wickedness afflict them any more." So, afflict them any more as before time. Now we understand who is the children of wickedness. Let's grab that immediately, identifying who the wicked is. Malachi chapter 1 and verses 3 to 4. It says, "And I hated Esau, and laid his mountains and heritage waste for the dragons of the wilderness." It continues on verse 4 and says, "Whereas Edom said," Edom, the son of the offspring of Esau, Edom said, "We are impoverished, but we will return and build desolate places. Thus saith Yahweh of hosts, they shall build, but I will throw down, and they shall call them the border of wickedness." What is that? What does Esau Edom refer to as? The border of wickedness. "And the people against whom Yahweh had indignation forever." So you see who is the children of wickedness? Esau Edom. Their descendants, to be exact. Let's continue. It says, verse 11, and as since the time that I commanded judges to be over my people Israel, and have caused thee to rest from all thine enemies, also Yahweh telleth thee that he will make thee an house." Verses 12. Here's the point. 12 and 13. Verse 14 is the main point, but 12 and 13 establish the prophecy coming to pass. It says, identifying it to be Solomon. Continuing, it says, "And thy days be fulfilled, that thou shalt sleep with thy fathers, and I will set up thy seed after thee, which shall proceed out of thy bowels, and I will establish his kingdom." Who is that referring to? Verse 14 is a dead giveaway. It says, "He shall build an house for my name, and I will establish the throne of his kingdom forever." Forever. Pay attention to that, because it means forever and ever and ever. But the point of it here, where he says, "He shall build an house for my name." Who, according to prophecy and according to scriptures, did that? It was none other than, let's read it ourselves. We don't see it. We'll read it. 1 Kings 11. So 1 1 Kings chapter 8 and verses 17. I say 11. Salakia. 8 and verse 17, straight to the point. And it was in the heart of David, my father. See, who is speaking here? Solomon. It was the heart of David, my father, to build an house for the name of Yahweh, power of Israel. Verse 18. And Yahweh said unto David, my father, whereas it was in thine heart to build an house unto my name, thou didst well that it was in thine heart. Verse 19. Nevertheless, thou shalt not build the house, but thy son shall come forth out of thy loins. He shall build the house unto my name, which as we saw and read according to prophecy. Read. It says, and Yahweh had performed his word that he spake, and I am risen up in the room of David my father, and sit on the throne of Israel, as Yahweh promised, and have built an house for the name of Yahweh, power of Israel. So we see where Solomon came in, which was promised, and for his son, and fulfill that prophecy by building a house for Yahweh. I'll outline this immediately, so there's no confusion in it. So that makes 2 Samuel 7, verse 12 and 13, directly referring to Solomon. So this is a prophecy concerning Solomon here. Let's read it again. And when thy days be fulfilled, and thou shalt sleep with thy father, talk about David, I will set up thy seed after thee, which is talking about Solomon, which shall proceed out of thy bowels, and I will establish his kingdom. He shall build a house for my name, which is Yahweh, and I will establish the throne of his kingdom forever. Mentioned. Referring to who? What we just read. Who fulfilled it? Solomon. Good. But what did Solomon also do? Because we had to remember that what Solomon also did. So, in the same sense, Solomon, in his older age, would have also transgressed against Yahweh, being the king of Israel also. Let's read from 1, I guess, down to verse 18. Let's read. It says, but King Solomon loved many strange women, together with the daughter of Pharaoh, women of the Moabites, Ammonites, Edomites, Zidonians, Hittites, of the nations concerning which Yahweh, and unto the children of Israel, Yahweh shall not go. Ye shall not go in unto them, neither shall they come in unto you, for surely they would turn away your heart after their gods. Solomon clave unto these in love. What did he do? He had 700 wives, princesses, and 300 concubines, and his wives turned away his heart. Verse 4. For it came to pass, when Solomon was old, that his wives turned away his heart after other gods when he was old. And his heart was not perfect with Yahweh his power, as was the heart of David his father. Verse 5. Solomon went after Ashtoreth, the goddess of Zidonians, and after Milcom, the abomination of the Ammonites. Solomon did evil in the sight of Yahweh, and went not fully after Yahweh, as did David his father. Then did Solomon build a high place for Chemosh, the abomination of Moab, in the hill that is before Jerusalem, and for Molech, the abomination of the children of Ammon. And likewise did he for all his strange wives which burn incense and sacrifice unto their gods. So what did he do? Commit idolatry, which is adultery against Yahweh Bashim Yahushai, for those who didn't understand that. So let's get a precept in the Lord Exodus to identify so, and then we continue, because we are showing that Solomon broke the law and transgressed against Yahweh Bahashem Yahushai at his older age. Let's go. So the law states, Exodus chapter 20 and verses 3. First law, thou shalt have no other gods before me. Verse 4, thou shalt not make unto thee any graven images or any likeness of these things that is in the heaven above, or that is in the earth beneath, or that is in the water under the earth. Thou shalt not bow down thyself to them, nor serve them, for I, Yahweh, thy power, am a jealous power, visiting the iniquity of the fathers upon the children, unto the third and fourth generations of them that hate me, and showing mercy unto thousands of them that love me and keep my commandments. So first things first, you can't have, you're not supposed to have no other gods. That's abomination, that's a transgression against the Heavenly Father. And what did Solomon do? Exactly that, which was according to prophecy. Which according to prophecy, he would be penalized for such actions. Let's get that precept in the same 2 Samuel 7 reading onwards. Verses 14 and 15 and 16 to be exact. So let's read. It says, I will be his father, verse 14, I will be his father and he shall be my son. If he commit iniquity, I will what? Chasten him with the rod of men and with the stripes of the children of men, if he commits iniquity. But my mercy shall not depart away from him, as I took it from Saul, whom I put away before thee. It says, thine house and thy kingdom shall be established forever before thee. Thy throne shall be established forever. Which means, not this time, but the next time, he is going to face his penalty. This is why he says he's not taking, but my mercy shall not depart away from him, as I took it from Saul. Because when the spirit was taken away from Saul, and he entered into the battlefield after, he and his son both died. But he is not going to take away that mercy as he did from Saul, meaning he's not going to receive his punishment or his imminent death and the penalties as was promised in this life. So then we have to ask the question, who, according to scriptures, would have received chastening chastening of the rod of men and stripes of the children of men? According to the scriptures, who would be the individual to take that place? Because we know Solomon would have died peacefully. No stripes, no chastening. Let's get into the precept. Let me not talk. Let's get into the precept. This is 1 Kings chapter. Sorry. This is 2nd Chronicles. I keep going to Kings. 2nd Chronicles chapter 9 and verse 30 and 31, I believe. Right, it says, and Solomon reigned in Jerusalem. Let me make sure I have this correct. Right. And Solomon reigned in Jerusalem over all Israel for 40 years. And Solomon slept with his fathers, and he was buried in the city of David his father, and Rehoboam his son reigned in his stead, of course, after. So Solomon did not face that penalty. He died of his old age, and he died, and he was settled along with in the city of David with his father, basically. No forms of chastening and chastening of men or the rod of men, and stripes, and beaten with the stripes of the children of men. None whatsoever. So again, the question must lie. Who? Because remember, let me get a precept really quick. And let's precept to add to what we see here. This is 1 Kings chapter 11, verses 41. To mention, understand the age in which he was before he died, right? It says, and the rest of the acts of Solomon and all that he did and his wisdom, are they not written in the book of the acts of Solomon? And the times that Solomon reigned at Jerusalem over all Israel for 40 years. And Solomon slept with his fathers and was buried in the city of David, and Rehoboam his son reigned in his stead. As mentioned, exactly as mentioned in Chronicles. We have to make sure I identify that. So who was the individual or the person? Because that person would be Solomon. Solomon received mercy in his current life as Solomon. He was promised of a punishment that is going to be delivered. He was promised by the spirit of a punishment which he did not inherit in his life as the king of as Solomon, the king of Israel. Very simple. This is very clear. So who would be the individual that he would come back as to receive that punishment? Because there is an individual that came back to receive these exact same punishments while being innocent. That's the problem. Whilst being innocent. Let us read according to the prophecies to get the understanding further. Let's read. This is the book of Selach. Stay tuned to the next one. Shalom.